right, and we're back with another episode of Book Bros.
Book Bros.
A Comic Book Wednesday affiliate. I'm not feeling well, so my voice is a little iffy. Hold on, Courtney's coming in the house now. Wait, the cat tried to escape. I'm just
no.
updating you. Alright, we're good. Hi. We're recording. So, Shane, Mistborn.
Yes.
Chapters
Mistborn.
6, 7, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling? We're done the first part of this book.
It's answering questions that I had, and I'm able to follow along really well, and so I genuinely appreciate that.
That's awesome.
I think so. Like, I wrote in chapter 6, I wrote down a lot of notes that focused more on here's my way of trying to pay attention and catch up. Like, not that I felt like I was falling behind by any means, but it was more, okay, I want to make sure I'm taking the correct notes and following along with the right things, you know?
Right. I got you.
So, like, my first note legitimately is the beginning bit echoes the plan getting closer. Because, like, you told me, like, to pay attention to those, I forget the term that you used.
The epigraphs.
Epigraph,
Yeah.
God. I'll get that at one point, I promise.
It's a weird term. I didn't even know those things had, like, a name until I was reading these books. It was, like, the parts in the beginning of chapters. Like, Google, tell me the name of that.
I just called them the bits until you told me what it was called.
Yeah. So, the epigraph in chapter 6, this is something that I want to point out for future Cosmere stuff.
Yeah, yes, please.
So that where it talks about the hero feeling the pulses. Let's see. On this fact, however, I don't have to take the word of philosophers. I can feel our goal now. I can sense it through the others, though others cannot. It pulses in my mind, far off in the mountains. That pulsing, the sound, is something that I noticed in the Stormlight Archive, and reading about this again here, I was like, huh, there are some connections there, and eventually it will make sense.
Okay, I'm glad you said something.
I promise you. Sorry.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Like, I'm just echoing what you were saying.
It's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
I'm really appreciating this book a second time through, even more so, because there are small little things that I am noticing that I can't exactly point them all out to you, but have that in your mind, and maybe later when we're reading the Stormlight Archive, and we get to, like, later in the series, I'd be like, do you remember that part in Mistborn when I was like, remember this? And you'll be like, yeah, I remember that, and then we can go back to it, and I think we'll have a pretty good moment.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. But continue. You talked about you're taking notes on the epigraphs.
Yes, taking notes on the epigraphs, and I really feel like, you know, you and I talked about, like, how much to pay attention to these, and it was you that pointed them out to me. And so it really, so far to me, feels like this epigraph is a nice, like, echo into their previous history of the area, because it really feels like they're talking about the same type of plan that Kelsier and Vin and, like, you know, his crew, for lack of a better term, are trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Like, there's those same themes that are coming up, and so in this section, it really, like, felt to me like they were talking about, like, all the stuff that was happening between those two characters.
Interesting. I like that take on it. I think that's a fascinating thing to pull. It's not something that I picked up. In fact, the first time I read this, I had a really hard time with these epigraphs, and it wasn't until I went through and found them online and read them all straight through that I was able to pick together a cohesive narrative on them.
Mm-hmm.
And now reading this time again, looking at them with you, I'm getting an even better feeling for them. So I like that you're saying that, because I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think there is a nice parallel there.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to reread them as we continue, because I really do feel like it's going to be one of those things for me where it's like, okay, this is because we're doing them in like chunks.
Yeah.
As I go through them all, it's like, okay, how do I make sure I'm paying attention to it? And I know with my own ADHD, it's going to be very like, okay, I read this, I understand this. Let me read it again when we're done. Like, I feel like we should do a wrap-up episode after we're done with this book, where we just go through and read all of the epigraphs.
Yeah, absolutely. We could definitely do that. I think we'll also have to do that for this series as a whole.
Oh, okay. No, that makes yeah. No, that's a great idea.
Because there are things that happen in the last Mistborn book that get called back to this book as well, and there's some nice wrapping up that's done, and I think it's going to be fun to talk about it.
You have told me that he does like his references, and
he does.
I likes that. I likes that a lot about good lore.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun with the lore, man. I'm telling you. All right.
So yeah, getting into the chapter, getting into the meat.
Sorry, I'm a little slow here today.
Oh, you're good. I'm impressed I'm able to follow along as I am playing a shooting game.
So there's a couple things I wanted to... So Vin is really... You really see her untrusting nature, not only in this chapter, but as we progress through these three.
Mm-hmm.
How untrusting she is. How scarred she is.
Yes. Definitely with how scarred she is. And there was a bit, we'll get to it, but since we're jumping around a little bit, I just want to say how proud of her I am, because she talked about I think it was in the later chapter where he had said to her, like, okay, we're going to turn the thing around. And she's like, well, why? And he's like, I can't work with somebody who doesn't trust me. And while I respect the fact that you don't trust me, like, I think his wordage was like, I need you to, like, give me a little bit if I'm giving you a little bit. Right. And she needed that push.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he was like, fine, you don't want to do this? We're not going to do this. I'll teach you what you want to know. You'll be on your way. I also like it in that chapter, Brandon then switches the point of view to Kelsier, and you get his internal thoughts, like, is she going to turn me into the Final Empire? I don't know. She might. I don't think she will. And then kind of like, let's do this. And then that's when Vin's kind of like, burp, okay, we'll do this. And then I did like her response to him. She's like, I'm not doing this because I trust you. I'm doing this because... No, it's not that... She's like, I want to stick around, but mostly because I want to see where this goes. But I think you're all crazy.
Yeah, she's got great survival instincts. Like, there's no way around that.
No, it definitely isn't.
I really like her as a character, not just for like how she sees the world, which I really respect and understand deeply, but also it's showing something that authors, I think, are sometimes afraid to do, where you're like, okay, here's this main character. The main character has something that makes them special. Let's make them special right off the get-go. It's like, yeah, Vin is special. There's no denying that. There's no denying like how like talented she is at this stuff. Yeah. But she's still getting trained. There was still that, like, for lack of a better term, montage of like her putting in the work and doing stuff and not succeeding at everything and like messing around with things. And there's a couple of notes, and we'll get to them, where I wrote like, oh yeah, I would have done that too.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot that I would have done with this as far as like what was Vin doing, like being scared shitless and shit. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, as soon as I launched myself like up, And Kelsey was like, "Yeah, you just have to float down. It's okay." My fear of heights would have kicked in and been like, "No, man, it's not okay. I am not okay."
This is not okay.
In fact, I am frightened right now.
Big scared.
Big scared.
So I want to actually talk to you about Reen. We see a lot of things about Reen in this, and I'm not 100% convinced that he is a bad person.
Reen.
Reen's her brother.
Ah. Okay. I'm inclined to agree, even though, like, yeah, he's giving her life lessons, and he definitely has said some stuff where I'm like, oh god, you're an asshole. But if you really do apply it from the context of, like, okay, this is their world, there could be some truth to that, of, like, maybe he just wanted to protect her, maybe, you know, I'm still holding on to my theory from last time where he knew that she was different or whatever, and that was maybe why, like, he was like, no, you're gonna get treated differently. Like, I still think there's some kind of something like that in there.
You know, I think that you're onto something. And I can't remember what actually happens to Reen. So I don't know for sure, but I just had the vibe like he's giving her survival skills. He's teaching her how to live on the streets. And he's like, I gotta give her tough love. But then I even think, like, is Vin a reliable narrator? Like, am I getting the truth from her memory? Because she's got a lot of PTSD. So she could be filtering out certain things, you know? I mean...
Damn, that is a great take. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I'm trying to find... There was a certain Green quote that made me think that, and I'm not seeing it now.
Oh, no worries.
But it's fine.
I think that's a solid take. Like, I didn't think of that, but you're right. Like, suffering from PTSD and suffering from those kinds of things, you know, somebody might come to you and be like, hey, do you remember this good thing that happened? And you're like, no. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but your brain is only going to remember the things that, like, you had more bad moments than good. You had more moments that were traumatic than you did positive. So if someone's like, oh, you had good times, it's like, did I? I don't know.
And I want you to try to pull back a small reference here that Kelsier makes. He talks about snapping. Do you remember that? In the pits of Hath Sin, he said he snapped.
I do remember him saying that, because I took it as like that was a personality shift for him.
So in lore, when a Elementor snaps, it is them gaining their ability, and it comes from it usually happens after, like, some intense strain on the body, physically and or mentally. So I'm thinking that at one point Vin snaps, because she's obviously a Mistborn, right? We have that confirmation. So in order for becoming an Allomancer, she had to have undergone some serious strain on her body. So that's, I feel like, whatever moment that is, she doesn't remember it exactly. She might not even remember it at all. Therefore, it's clouding everything, including Reen, maybe.
I'm going to take a second to point out how much of a huge nerd Brandon Sanderson is, and the only reason I say that is because that is the same process that happens when a planeswalker gets their spark ignited.
You know him. He loves his Magic the Gathering.
The same thing has to happen in order for a planeswalker to get their spark. In which case, when that happens, their body they're transported somewhere else.
That's insane. Okay, so it's similar but different.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, dude, isn't that nuts?
But I can very much be like, "Ah, you nerd. I respect that.
I see the reference. Yeah.
I understood that."
I like that a lot. But yeah, that said, I'm just like, is Reen a bad person? I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know if he's good or a bad person, and I think that's it's a moral question that might not be answered. You know, I mean, if he's truly gone and we never see him again, we'll never know.
Yeah. No, that is a good question.
Then
we don't know until it ends up happening.
On a funny note, we met a character.
Yes.
And there is a quote I want to read.
Yeah.
And here goes. "You're wanted," he said in a thick Eastern accent. "Ups in the where above with the doing. With master jumps to the 3rd floor. I gots to go." Yep.
Oh my god. No, that was a good moment.
Less the bonus. And you're like, huh? And then, like, he's, like, talking at another time, and they're like, alright, you're gonna be our guy. Can you be a nobleman? And he says something, and Kelsier's just like, he's like, how about your nephew? Nodding to the man on the at the club's side. Kelsier studied the boys. "What's your name, son?" He goes, "Les de Bones." Kelsier raised an eyebrow. "That's a mouthful. Do you have a nickname?" "Not of the yetting yet. We'll have to work on that." "Do you always speak in the Eastern street slang?" The boy shrugged, obviously nervous about being center of the attention. "Wasn't the place when I was young." And then Kelsier glanced at Doxson, who shook his head. "I don't think it's a good idea, Kel." "Agreed."
Since we're talking about funny moments, my funny moment was when Kelsey was writing on the, like, I imagine it's a whiteboard. I don't know what it is, but it's like, in my mind it's a whiteboard. Okay. When they're talking about their plan, and he writes, "Kelsier, General Mayhem," and I wrote, "Yes, can confirm." I liked that a lot. That was one of my favorites.
I do too. I like that moment.
Quote-wise, I did write down a quote that said, "Don't give attention to his name," and that was when Vim was talking about, like, they were talking about the Lord, and he was like, "No, don't give attention to his name. Like, don't use his name like a god."
Yeah.
And Kelsier, and I wrote down, Kelsier understands the propaganda.
Right. Oh my god, yeah, exactly. I made note of that. I don't know if I wrote that down. Because, he says, "Even blasphemy honors him. When you curse by that creature's name, you acknowledge him as your god." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the first time that you see what I call the crack in his armor fade a little bit, of like, oh, that's serious Kelsier.
Right. Oh, exactly, right? His, the armor of, like, I'm gonna smile all the time, like the funny, happy-go-lucky Kelsier.
Yeah, because even when he was fighting and getting the, Atium, is that how you pronounce it? Atium?
Atium.
Atium, thank you. Even when he was getting the Atium, and, like, he's fighting off those two, the two guys, you could still tell he was like, alright, I'll try this. Okay, I'll try that. Like, it wasn't like I didn't really see that as him, like, being like, alright, I'm gonna lock in. That was more of a, I got this. This sucks a little bit, but I got it. This was the first time I'm like, oh, that was him being serious.
Right.
Like the tone changed, everything was described different, and even Vin was like, okay, and like she stopped too.
Yeah, the other time that I seen him be serious is when you first see him confront Cayman. Like, he's serious there too, but I agree with you. His talk about anytime he talks about the Lord Ruler, he just doesn't f around.
Yeah.
I have another quote pertaining to the Lord Ruler. It describes him. He was the creator, protector, and punisher of mankind. He saved them from the deepness, then brought the ash and the mist as punishment for the people's lack of faith. So there's a little bit of lore there as to why things are the way they are.
Yeah, that actually echoes something else that I caught. I don't remember what chapter it was, but I think I wrote it down. And it was when they were outside the wall, just to jump around a little bit. And, Vim was like, well, what color should this be? And he was like, green.
Green.
They're supposed to be green.
Yeah.
And she kind of looked at him like she didn't understand.
Right. I was hoping you'd bring up that moment.
Yeah.
Why? And then we have to ask ourselves, why does Kelsier know that? Because that does not seem to be well known.
And even his backstory that we've learned, like with his brother and stuff like that, still doesn't explain how he knows that. Like, you could make the argument early on that maybe he's like read some things he's not supposed to, because I imagine for a cult-like setting as this is, there's probably bans on
Knowledge,
literature and knowledge and things like that. And so I could see him being the little chaos goblin that he is. Oh, that's what I'm gonna call him. Like getting into some books or getting into some stuff that he wasn't supposed to know about, and wasn't supposed to read. But I'm not sold on that theory. I think there's more to it. I just don't know where.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see, because I mean they'll definitely go into it for sure. But there is, I mean, talking about Kelsier's background for a sec.
Yeah.
It wasn't in this chapter, but in like one of the other ones, we learned that that they lived as illegitimate children to a nobleman, but not as Ska, as noble born, because they thought that his mother like pretended to be a nobleman.
Yeah, they were like bastards, basically.
Yes. Yeah, and then they found out otherwise, and she was put to death. I'm guessing. I don't remember if they say explicitly what happens to her, but that's what I'm thinking would happen in this society.
Yeah. That's kind of what I assumed. I also, if we're talking about lines that like really made an impact, Kelsier's brother said something that really made me go, "Oh God," and that was when they were talking about like Kelsier being in the mine pits, and he was like, I don't like to, even to Vin, he didn't really like talking about it, but his brother had made the comment of, I think it was, I wish it was her that got through, and like, and it was like, I wish it was her that escaped and not you, and he goes, me too.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's heavy.
Talking about Mare, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty heavy. There's some really heavy moments in this book.
And like that part I wrote down as like he must have loved, like, if it was Kelsier's like wife, but all of them must have been close. There must have been something else.
Yeah, I mean,
some sort of way.
The way I take that is, I think Marsh had romantic relationship with her, and then
things. The vibe I was getting too.
Yeah, that's just kind of like what I'm picking up from that discussion, and it seems like he just doesn't he doesn't forgive his brother because he blames Kelsier for her death.
And with how much guilt Kelsier carries around, it looks like he blames himself for her death as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's heavy. On another note,
Yeah.
I think that chapter 6 really highlights something, that Kelsier is just natural born leader. The charismatic nature. Not only that, but he listens to all his people.
I really respect that about him, and like that was also something that he told Vin, where he was like, I'm going to help people. You can stay if you want to, but I'm not like gonna twist your arm. This isn't like you now have to do this because you're indebted to me. Because several times Vin was like, well, you're teaching me these secrets, and he's like, well, they're not secrets. I'm just teaching you.
Right.
And she was like, what's to stop me from using those against you? He's like, nothing. You can do what you want, kind of thing. And like, I was really proud of Vin for, I think it was the end of 7. I'll have to double check my notes because we're still on 6. I'm jumping around. Where he said, like, he had made some comment and she was like, I trust you. And I was like, good progress, good for you. I'm proud of you.
Right. No, she's definitely, like, there is some growing moments in these chapters for Vin, which is nice. A large part of my notes is literally trying to recreate their board.
Oh, nice.
Excuse me. So I have Luthadel Garrison. Underneath of it says, attack the pits of Hathsin, because that's how they're going to get the garrison out of the city. Chaos and Great Houses are next to each other, with House War underneath. Under Great Houses, we also have Breeze Planning, Kelsier General Mayhem, yes. And then Vin Infiltration. They don't have anything for the Ministry. They don't have anything for the ATM Secure Treasury, but that is there. Troops. We have Ham's going to be training them. Breeze is for recruitment, and Kelsier is getting the equipment. Ska Rebellion. Eden is in charge of preparation and ruling. The Lord Ruler has nothing on it yet, though we know Kelsier has his 11th medal. And Eden, bad attitude, underlined.
It made a lot more sense to me now, because initially when we did our last recording, one of the things that I kept thinking of was like, oh man, how are they gonna, do all this quickly? And then it was mentioned in this chapter where they were like, yep, this is our year plan, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense in my brain. This is good. This is supposed to take a year.
Right.
And so like now I'm understanding the timeline a little bit better, and it's making sense to me.
Right. They're not doing this next Tuesday.
Yeah. Although with the way Kelsier acts, that wouldn't have surprised me. That's
yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, how quickly is he just about to like cause some chaos?
Yeah. How is he going to try to kill God next week?
I like his I like his style of planning, where you said it too, like where he's including everyone, and I also understood like the definition of a smoker in these chapters. That was something that was like a little bit lost on me for a moment, but like now I'm there and it's making more sense.
Right. Now we know like how they can protect others when using Allomancy. We get good descriptions on the Allomancy at this point. We can just start going into that chapter.
Sure, in 7.
Yeah. Before we get into the meat, the epigraph, they mention a character by name of Rashik, well loved by his people, but full of hate. So, that was just the main thing I pulled from that. So there's this other now we're learning in this story that's being told through the epigraphs about characters. Reshik
Mm-hmm.
was the name. I think the first name we get.
Because that the note that I put down there was that is an interesting interesting lesson in implied hatred.
Would you want to just elaborate a little bit for me?
Yeah, so in that beginning epigraph, let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
So I can reference that part. 1 second. I had a couple of things that were coming to try and tickle me.
You're good, man. I like the thought process you got going on, you know?
Okay. Well, let's see here. That's 8. God, what? Do you know what page it's on? What page is 7?
Chapter 7. We have different page numbers because I'm in a big book.
Okay, if you want to pull yours up and you read it out loud, I can explain my thought process.
The
I was
epigraph
having trouble
itself.
finding it. I apologize. Yes, please.
Okay, give me a sec. All right,
Sure.
so it's got a little bit of length to it, so just give me a sec here.
Yeah.
All right. Reshik is a tall man, of course. Most of these terrorist men are tall. He is young to receive so much respect from the other pack-men. He has charisma, and the women of the court would probably describe him as handsome, in a rugged sort of way. Yet, it amazes me that anyone would give heed to a man who speaks such hatred. He has never seen Calemnium, yet he curses the city. He does not know me, yet I can already see the anger and hostility in his eyes.
Yes. So I thought about the Lord Ruler, the one who's like kind of like a god that they think is a god, when I was reading that, because to me that was like, okay, this seems like that they're trying to like, even the narrator for that passage was like, you know, why he's not gonna like me, he's not gonna like this, he speaks with such hatred. Like, that to me was the first example of like, okay, here is someone, by my understanding, who hates for no reason. And so we've already seen with the ska that people have these prejudices, and
Right.
so I kind of took that as like, okay, here's a historic example of this prejudice and this hatred first being introduced in their world. If this is meant to be like a discussion, or this epigraph is meant to be like an echo of something that happened many, many years ago.
Right. So like
that was kind of my thought process.
I like where you're going. Like and then we learn, and then we see later, and just to jump ahead a little bit, we see other terrorist men. We see Sazed. We meet him, and he is the most respectful. Like, so like, what is going on? So like, the terrorists are used as noblemen, like house servants, not necessarily slaves, but they are slaves. They're not as low as the ska, from what I can tell. But like, so this does this resentment from this Reshik have to do with that?
That's kind of what I was like getting at, of like, okay, like there seems to be something like pretty deep going on there.
Right. And like, why are these Calemnium people like that? That sounds like a nation to me, or a city.
Mm-hmm.
And Reshik hates those people. Are the Calemniums the noblemen from the past, and then they like take over this town? Like, is it misdirect? Is Reshik the good guy? Is
so many unknowns?
Is the hero we're reading like because like we're reading from the Hero of Ages point of view?
Yeah.
Is that person bad or good? What
is that actually the hero?
Right. Who's the actual hero here? I don't know.
That's a good point, because I mean, history is written by the victor.
Exactly.
Ooh, oh, you got my brain thinking. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
That
Yep.
is a
Yep.
damn good point. Okay.
So we got that. We're thinking of that.
The thoughts that need to be thunk.
Yeah, these are the questions that need to be answered, right? And hopefully Brandon answers them. All right. So now we get Marsh for the really the first time in this chapter. We learn a couple things. He used to lead the rebellion, which is why Eden was all like, "Oh my God, Marsh, you're back!" You know?
Yeah, there's a lot on Marsh that I really want to know about.
Talk me. Talk to me.
Okay. Talk to me. Okay, so Marsh, so what I wrote down first was Marsh seems to be the moral compass. Kelsier living in luxury is not the same man that we're seeing now. And then in parentheses, I wrote one bad day.
What do you mean by that?
And think of Batman and the Joker and that lesson that the Joker was always trying to teach him.
Basically, you're one bad day away from being me.
Yeah.
So, is Kelsier one bad day away from being the Lord Ruler? Is that what you're saying?
I was saying that, because we learned that Kelsier was this happy-go-lucky, I can turn anything into, I can turn anything into opportunity. He wasn't leading the rebellion. Marsh is saying that he didn't do anything with his life. He had something happen, and that caused him to get thrown into the pits.
Yep.
And that whole pit situation was the bad day.
Okay.
That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everything before the moment where he gets put into the pits of Hathsin, he is he's this life is great, type of guy. And then he gets thrown in here, he snaps, his wife dies, and now he's like, "All right, time to fuck y'all up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was where I put the quote of, "I wish she survived instead of you." And then I wrote, "They both must have loved her in their own way."
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you nailed that on the head there. I have another thing here. In the early beginning of this chapter, Marsh is talking to Kelsier, and he's talking to him about killing the Ska that work for the noblemen, and he's talking about how they're people with families, and they're just trying to get by, and they're trying to make the best of a really shitty situation. And Kelsier's just they gave in, they started working for the Lord Ruler. You're no friend of mine. I'm just gonna fucking kill you.
Yep. That was the moral compass, what I was thinking of when I wrote the moral compass comment, because to me it was I understand Marsh's point. I really do.
Yeah.
These are people who did not directly hurt him. They did not directly kill him or anything, or kill his wife.
Right.
But he has now had this happen where he's nope, all of you gotta go. No excuse. Don't want to hear it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely hear what you're saying. I think Marsh is right here. I think we're we do. I think Kelsier is a fun character to read. I don't know if he's necessarily a good person. Does that make sense?
It does. No, it absolutely does. We can't quite get a beat on him yet. To me, he's very patient with Finn. He is showing restraint. He's showing honesty. One of the things that I wrote in this chapter was let's see, what was it? He mentioned healing her scars. He's very patient with her. Because he even makes a comment of some scars can't be seen. Mm-hmm. And he understands what she's dealing with to an extent. And the fact that he is so patient and good with his leadership and good with these kinds of things, I can almost see with his brother that there might be some resentment where he's like, okay, I used to do this. I used to be the one that was like, yes, we have to rebel. We have to do these things. And I think what his brother doesn't want to admit is that now that Kelsier is doing things with kindness and he's doing it this way, that to an extent, Kelsier's way might be working. Because I kind of got that there was like a little, not just that, you know, you're always the irresponsible one. Because if you think about a family dynamic, if someone was always irresponsible and now they're finally like stepping up and doing things, like, you'd want to be proud of them. You'd want to be like, no, I'm proud of you. I support you. Like, I'm glad that you got here. Let's keep moving forward.
I think at this point, I'm sorry.
No. Your final point was, I think Marsh is tired, and he's tired of being tired, and I think he's just lost all of that patience, and there might be a little bit of jealousy sprinkled in there.
Yeah, I think that there is a trust thing as well. Just because Kelsier is saying and doing all these things, it doesn't mean that Kelsier's motives are pure, you know? Not doing things for the right reason also matters.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm sure that Marsh probably thinks, okay, Kelsier's out for revenge. You know, doesn't actually care about the Ska people.
Yeah.
Which I'm not entirely sure if I believe that. I think Kelsier does care. It just took a lot for him to get to that point.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like you've made me think of something that like that's kind of why I want to see more of what happened with Marsh and Kelsier, because there definitely needs to be a lot of things that are explored and a lot of things that are analyzed.
Yeah.
I feel like the lore between them it's not done yet.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I think we're going to have a lot of book here, you know. We've got a series, and hopefully we get a lot of building of these characters, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see. Okay, hit on the selfishness. Here's a word of Reen I have. The man who wants you to trust him is the one you must fear the most.
Street lesson.
It's a street lesson. Seems oddly specific, but, you know.
It is oddly specific, but also, like, I'd say a little foreshadowing, because, like, now that we're thinking about it, Kelsier is really nice to Vin. He's doing things, he's trying things. If there was a situation where Vin was caught between Vin and the Lord Ruler, as of right now, I don't think that he'd save her.
He'd try to kill the Lord Ruler rather than saving her.
Yes.
Well,
I don't think his I think his moral compass is avenge my wife.
I think that's fair. Let's hope then that Vin can save herself.
I think she's going to teach him some stuff, and I'm excited for that, because like they are definitely learning from each other.
Yeah. No, I think there's a beautiful dynamic between the two of them, and it grows. And but like it grows as Vin grows. Vin, I think, is going to force some envelopes here, you know.
Well, and speaking of, I have a couple funny parts to add now.
Okay.
So in this chapter, I wrote, fuck around, find out. I would have done the same thing with the iron. Like when she first tried it, and it was just like, went right into her face, and he was like, I knew you'd try that. It's like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. I'm not even going to fight that.
Not even mad. That's exactly what I would have done. No, the curiosity probably would have got the best of me as well.
Oh yeah, and then I did think it was very poetic that this chapter ended with the leap of faith.
Yeah, because let's see, did I thought it. I don't know if I wrote it. Oh yeah, I did. I did. Vin leaves her old world behind. Basically, that's how I feel like. It's like literally Vin leaping into this new world.
Yep. Yeah, that was very much like. I thought that was a great way to end that chapter, where he was like, "Just do it," and like, she leapt into the air, and I was like, "Okay, that's some solid writing. I respect that. Very nice. Cherry on top."
Yeah, I mean, so now you're fully getting to see the Allomancy kind of being used. How do you feel about it as a magic system?
I like it. I think that it's very, so far with all of his magic systems, there's been this level of like, what is the equivalence? What is the equal exchange?
Uh-huh.
And he writes that in a way where it's not overpowered. It's not like okay, you can do magic. Level 2, I cast fireball, like, or whatever. It's very much the more you practice and the more you learn, you're gonna get better at this, but you have to practice and learn.
Right.
You can't just go out and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, and even Vin says that, like, oh, sure, you can. Like, some people have talent enough to do this, but if you do this wrong, like, you're going to hurt yourself. And that's what I thought was really interesting when he was talking to Vin about this, when he was like, okay, so like what happens if you do this and then XYZ, like what is the lesson? And she was like, okay, well you can hit yourself. And he's like, yeah, and you could die.
Right. You can get really messed up. Like, you can end your life on an accident if you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as for the magic system, I think this is very unique. I have not seen this in like any other book that I've read in quite a while, and I really like it.
Excellent.
What about you? What were your thoughts when you first like encountered this?
I thought it was interesting. This is so unique because, like, the idea of ingesting a metal, burning it in your stomach like a furnace to get different abilities, and not just like one ability. There are like 10. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they all do something different. With and I something I noticed. So Kelsier is always talking about 10 elementic metals. Don't burn metals that you're not supposed to. Da 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 da. It can be
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. Oh, burn them before you sleep because it's poison. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I thought, what's the 11th metal then? Right? What's the
I
11th metal? And like, is there more?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there more? Because as we've already seen with some of the other, I'll echo some of the other magic systems that we've come across. There's always a yes and, not a no but. And I feel like the yes and for this, all of these metals have some sort of equivalence, some sort of like duality to them.
Right. Like a push and a pull is how they describe it.
Yeah. And there's one thing that they haven't talked about.
What's
And I've been curious about this. With metal, they said that you can push, you can pull it, you can do all these different kinds of things. My honest thought was there is iron in your blood.
Yeah.
What is preventing you from burning iron to then do that to somebody else? And so then my brain thought like, okay, what if this 11th metal has something to do with spirit? Has something to do with like an intangible force?
Ooh, maybe. I like that. I like what you're thinking. I do have to say the whole like affecting the iron in your blood and all that kind of stuff. They do reference that. Like Vin's worried about her earring, and Calcier is like, no, no, no. Like metal in a body can't be touched by allomancy. It can't be done.
Yeah, and that's why I thought of this 11th metal, because I was like, that was the ADHD train, where I was like, okay, here's this, they just explained it, but there's a really interesting avenue to, like, how does the spirit work for something like this?
Yep.
And so that's kind of like, that was what triggered that thought process, was
Yes.
they answered my question, but now I have like 4 more.
And if you remember, if spirit's a good thing to think about, because remember, in Emperor's Soul, Shai talks about the romantic theory, and she talks about all of existence experiencing all of existence exists in 3 realms: the physical, where we are now, the cognitive realm, and the spiritual realm. So, that in mind, remember I'm telling you, these magic systems are different, but they also follow rules. So, that's something to kind of keep an eye on.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, and that's what's got me so curious is, okay, these are rules, these are things that we've seen so far, but there is this potential. When is this going to come up?
Right.
I've also thought that maybe that 11th metal could be like the equivalence could be very much like Mercury, where if you're doing something with it, it could harm you as a person.
Right. Like, okay, you can use this, but it might sacrifice yourself to use it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, yeah. Also, I have to talk to you about this because I had a moment when I was reading. So they were talking about one of the metals that can like sense other people. Is that it's not copper, but it's equivalent. Copper cloud is like what protects you. But I gotta pull up the metals. Bronze. Bronze allomancy, the seeker. I was thinking like, okay, so bronze allomancy can help you see other allomancy. But like, what if an allomancer was on sale? Could you see an Elantrian using its metal? Like, would you be able to trace an Elantrian? Like, I don't know the answer to that question. But I thought that was fascinating, right? Potentially.
That is pretty damn fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know. But I figured I'd poke you with that little bit of thought. Like, I think it's fascinating for me because, like, the more as we read these books together, I think the more you'll start thinking about the magic like that. Because, like, it's not pertinent to, like, plot or anything or any of these books, but it's like, what if this happened? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I like that what if, because it's such a vast world that I would love to see in future things, and who knows, maybe this has already happened and I'm just like now catching on, any of these planetary crossovers.
Yeah, I think that'd definitely be fun. As we continue with the Cosmere, and there are like little Easter eggs and things like that, I will try to point them to you, because
thank you.
To me, that is the fun. Like, I love doing that. There's been parts where I listen to audiobooks, like back when I could listen to them at work, and I'd like pause it and I'd like, wait, what? Rewind.
I do love it when a book does that.
Yeah, me too. And the author kind of awards the readers for sticking with it a bit. Let's see.
I do have a good quote from this chapter.
Sweet. Hit me with
and
it.
Again, it's talking about the continuing belief in the propaganda. And it said, the right belief is like a good cloak. Then I wrote, that's a damn good line.
Who says that? Was that...
I think that was Kelsier that said it.
Okay.
But
There was a no, I think that was I think that's in chapter 8, and I think it was Sazed.
says it. Okay. Yeah, I did have that for chapter 8 though. You're
Okay.
right.
Because I wrote that down too. I have I thought you would like that quote.
Yes.
I'm at my 5 minute mark, so give me a sec here. I'm going to end and then
Part
restart.
2.
We're going to part 2 now. Bye bye.